We're going to go through the procedure of how to replace the wet seal in this pump. First off, we're going to go back to and drain the fluid out of the reservoir. After we got the fluid drained, we're going to take these 4 bolts loose here. There's 4 clockwise all the way around, 1 on the bottom and 1 on the other side. After you got all 4 nuts off, then you should just be able to take and pull this housing. You may need to give it a little bit of a tap to get it come loose, but it should pop right off. And then the impeller will be exposed. And at this time, you can inspect the impeller to see if there's any damage done there, something stuck in it, or buildup of any kind. Then our next step is, there's a nut in here in the center of the impeller. These are all right-handed threads, so we'll just take that loose. Take that out. You may have to get something in here to wedge the impeller, but then turn the impeller off, and that should screw right off. Look for visual inspection. This plastic wear ring should be in good shape yet. Now we've got the impeller removed. Now we're going to disassemble the reservoir part, the wet seal reservoir. So there again, we've got 4 bolts, just like we did. 1 on top, 2 on the sides, and 1 on the bottom. And this could be a little spring loaded. So when you're taking it apart, be a little careful. It shouldn't snap back at you, but it could come apart. Don't be surprised. After all 4 nuts are taken off, the housing will come apart, and then you will see the wet seal. Inspect for visual any damage or something. This is one of the seals. Make sure it's nice and white like that one currently is. If it's black and cracked, then you know that's where the seal was leaking or bad. Once we got the reservoir housing off, then we'll remove the spring seal. You just grab it, give it a pull. It might stick a little bit, but we want to inspect this shaft here. Now at this time, it should be nice and perfectly smooth like this one. If the seal has been out for a while, it will do some damage and you'll see some ridges in there. If that needs to be replaced, this here shaft, then we take these 4 bolts out. If the seal needs to be replaced or the shaft needs to be replaced, it's easier just to take this housing off. You can get at that seal a lot easier. Sometimes these can kind of stick, so if you just give it a light tap, it should pop off like that. And then go ahead, and here's the seal replacement. That would be the old one. This is what the new one looked like. Turn it over, you can press the old one out, and then you press the new one in with the rubber like that, down and replace like that. If this shaft needs to be replaced, all you do is loosen this coupling here and then slide this shaft off. This is the new one. Just slide it back on there. Don't tighten it up until you're completely done, so the shaft location is right. After you got the new seal in place in this housing, we're ready to put the pump back together. So just slide that over. Make sure this face is clean. This time we're ready to put the seal on the shaft. I took a little WD-40, kind of lubed it up, helps it go on a little easier. Sometimes it can be a little tough. Just push on. This time we're ready to put the wet seal reservoir on. Make sure the sight glass is pointing out to the side. Put it on. Let's put it together like that. Put the nuts back on. This time we're ready to put the impeller on. Just turn it on the shaft simply like that. Get it good and snug. Sometimes just take something and wedge this and just give it a good healthy turn like that. We're ready to put the jam nut on. Give it a little snug like that. Now we're ready to put the volute on. simply goes on like that. Make sure it goes on nice and square. The 4 bolts on, nuts. As we're finishing up here, the 4 nuts. Ready to put the reservoir, fill the reservoir back up again. 50-50 antifreeze, about 14 ounces is what we need.